I'm Jason Klamm, and this is the Comedy on Vinyl podcast. Hi, I'm Jason Klamm. I'm the host of the Comedy on Vinyl podcast. Every once in a while, I've been doing this podcast, the podcast, for 9 years. This is not the podcast. This is just a video supplement. Every once in a while, somebody does send me a free comedy vinyl record to review. And every once in a while, there's ones that I'm really excited about. Sometimes I get them. Okay, it's much, much rarer than you would think. And sometimes I don't. This time I got one I'm very excited about that I put way too far out of reach. So here we go. This cardboard is very exciting to me. So I'm gonna do a little bit of a unboxing situation here. So just to kind of give you a heads up as to why I really, really wanted this. I grew up as a young man. I mean, you saw what it is in the title. Grew up partially in Germany, and so my only exposure to really other American culture for a few years was like HBO and like TV that was a year behind. There's Top 40 Radio, which I think was probably pretty up to date. But when I was in Germany, and my parents had HBO and stuff, which, you know, I admit that's kind of privileged in the 80s. A few movies came on that I became addicted to. One was Arthur, one was Trading Places. Neither appropriate for a kid my age. I was 2, 3 at the time. And then there was another movie called Grease 2. I had never seen Grease. I don't think I saw Grease until I was in junior high or high school. And yeah, I don't know. I became obsessed with the movie, and Grease 2, it became this thing where I loved it as a kid. I really wanted to be some of the characters. Became addicted to it. When I moved to America, introduced some of my friends, Dustin and Jody, to it. And then, you know, we would have arguments about who should play who, and we would act out Grease 2. And eventually it sort of became a thing in high school. It was like, this is a bad movie, and like appreciating it ironically. And eventually it came around to, you know, that sort of middle ground where like, there's some good stuff. There's some problematic stuff. There's some not so great stuff, but I really like the good stuff. The music, the choreography, it's a lot of fun. And also you really can't go wrong with Michelle Pfeiffer ever. So this is a special re-release of the soundtrack on vinyl. Here it is. A little shiny. Apologize for that. Got your Maxwell Caulfield. You got your Michelle Pfeiffer. There's a luau photo in the back. I have the original soundtrack somewhere. Not quite sure where. This has received quite a punishment on right there. I don't know if you can see that or not, but quite a bit of punishment. Let's unwrap this. And what's very exciting is that the inner booklet is written by Craig Bishop, friend of the show. He hasn't been on Comedy on Vinyl yet, but I think at some point we're going to need to talk about this. But this booklet's him. He's got interviews. He wrote the content that's in here. I'm not obviously going to have time to read the whole thing now, but it's great. There's some fantastic photos, including Michelle Pfeiffer on a ladder, which I'm pretty sure activated a lot of people in certain ways. Did me. Home is behind, the world ahead, and there are many paths to tread, through shadow to the edge of night, until the stars are all aligned. Mist and shadow, cloud and shade, all shall fade, all shall fade. Let's see, man, there's just a lot of really great photos in here. I mean, come on. How do you not enjoy the sheer whatever that is of Adrian Zmed with his shirt halfway off? I mean, come on. It's fantastic. So I can't wait. I'm going to read this whole booklet. It is a nice gatefold. It's got yearbook style photos on the inside. This is very exciting. Yeah, Some really great stuff. And here we are. Here's the record. I think I mentioned earlier and cut myself off. I have the original soundtrack. It's obviously not as well put together as this, or as thoughtfully, because it was just, it was just a supplement. This is now more of a celebration because, let's see here. Yeah, it's just a nice simple record. And what I'll do right now, ooh, just noticed that there's nothing on that side. Fantastic. I like it. There's something simple and fun about it. Okay, well then let's, it'd be funny if that was a mistake. I'm sure it's not. And it might be a reference maybe that I'm missing, even though I'm a giant fan. Another thing about this movie is a few years ago I was trying to make a documentary about Grease too, because I love it and I know there are other people who really love it, and I made friends with the people who I met up with at one of the signing conventions here in Burbank, and met Adrian Zemed, Leif Green, a few other people, and they're all very nice and very kind. And I sat down with some people, and I think I was still prepared to be like, we all like this movie, ironically, right? And then I sat down and interviewed a few people, and the stories that, they're not mine to tell, I have them on camera. At some point I'm going to have to release these, even though they're poor quality. The stories these people are telling about what the film meant to them and what it gave to them as people, you really can't discount a movie just because you might not like it or you think it's cheesy, which, by the way, calling something cheesy just means you probably don't know how to be sincere. You either like something or you don't like it, and then you move on. And so I finally moved over to oh, no, I like it sincerely, with the awareness that there's some stuff that's maybe not as good as others, but I still love it, and I love the music. That's something I've got to release at some point because it's pretty interesting, and the interviews were a lot of fun. And again, very personal and not stuff that I just want to say just flippantly here, but some very interesting stories. So I'm going to give this a listen and come right back. Not the full thing. I'm going to give a little sampling of a listen because I want to hear how nice it sounds. Well, that brought back some memories. Sounds great. I mean, it's cut on vinyl. Sounds handsome. I'm not a person who, if you don't listen to the podcast, I don't really listen to comedy on vinyl because it sounds warm or because I find the sound quality superior. I do love the sound, but I often buy cheap albums. But I love when I get a brand new one that is not scratchy, not poppy. Yeah, it sounds great. And what's super fun is on the inside, there's different kind of testimonials from other people who love the movie or who are involved with the movie. Brian Herzlinger, who is a movie maker who did My Date with Drew. Adrian Zemed himself. Who else we got? Chris McDonald I saw in there. A lot of people who are fans of the movie and appreciate the movie and appreciate having been in it. Maxwell Caulfield writes a whole page of stuff. This is fantastic. I don't know. This is I'm going to be reading through this and kind of having the experience of a new record for the first time in a while, even though it's a re-release. But there's so much new stuff in here. So I want to thank Rusted Wave for sending this to me. Very kind of them. And thank you very much to Craig Bishop for making me aware that this exists. Because, I don't know, man, this is super exciting. It's not often that not often that I get free records for stuff. So I did get this for free. But, they sent me something that I was going to love anyway. So, take that for what it is. But it's great. And if you like this movie, why would you not like this? There's so much good stuff in here. It's brilliant. Well, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully I'll have some more of something like this coming up soon. Maybe I'll go back into digging into my 600 plus vinyl albums once I'm finally to the point where I'm not exhausted by them. And maybe we'll start doing that again soon. But thank you very much for watching. And as always, have a good thing. Comedy on Vinyl is a production of Stolen Dress Entertainment. It is produced by Mike Warden and is hosted and edited by Jason Klamm. Our theme song was composed and performed by Richard Levinson. Please visit stolendress.com to listen to our other podcasts, read our blogs, read our tweets, watch our videos, and read our books. Please subscribe on iTunes, and if you like us, give us a 5-star rating and a nice review. You can find us on facebook.com/comedyonvinyl, Twitter @comedyonvinyl, and find everything else at comedyonvinyl.com. A major portion of Comedy on Vinyl has been underwritten by Stand Up Records. Please visit standuprecords.com for all your comedy needs and tune into the new Stand Up channel available on the Roku, where you can also find select episodes of this podcast.
Hey, it's my turn. Ah!
Hi, I'm Jason Klamm. I'm the host of the Comedy on Vinyl podcast and several others, and I run the Stolen Dress podcast network. I'm here to tell you about a new show called The Professional Blur. When I first came out to LA a few years ago, I made my money the way a lot of people do. Background acting. I'm in a little bit of everything, from stuff you probably don't remember and stuff I definitely don't remember, to movies like The Aviator or shows like Mad Men, where, when you can see me, I'm mostly out of focus. Now I'm starting a new podcast called The Professional Blur, where I interview friends and other industry folks about their experience with extra work. Sometimes they're waiting around to get a line, like myself, and don't exactly get one. Sometimes they're folks who get a line or get an entire career out of that line. This is a poker chip from the television show Las Vegas. I was advised to act drunk, but I hadn't really been drunk yet. The AD, the assistant director, stopped the shot. This is a room the size of an actual casino floor, with about 50 to 100 extras on it. He singled me out in front of all of them and said, "Hey, Mr. Stumbles, you want to tone it down a notch?" Needless to say, I acted better that day. I mean, it's a little hard to call extra work acting. It is. It can be, especially if you're really pretentious, like I was. I think you'll enjoy the behind-the-scenes stories of myself and my guests, as well as our segments like 5 and Over, where we take somebody's extra role and then you expand that into your own spin-off. Maybe my friend who had a couple of lines on Grey's Anatomy will take his EMT character and spin him off into a sitcom. Maybe my friend who is in a very famous beer commercial will take his character and give him his own dark docudrama. I haven't even thought about what I'd do. Clearly all of my characters were thieves, so please check out the Professional Blur podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you find podcasts. If you've got your own stories that you'd like us to share, write to theprofessionalblur@stolendress.com. You can send us something written, you can send us your screen captures, you can even send us a voice message and we can use it on the podcast. Also, if you want to see how this whole thing started, you can go to Instagram. I'm at Jason Klamm. My hashtag is theprofessionalblur. You can see everything that I've ever done, going back to when I was on BOOMTOWN with Michael T. Williamson, or you can see one of my most recent being pretty heavily featured in Drunk History with Elijah Wood. If nothing else, come for the theft. I'm so sorry, Josh Duhamel.